Hey, good morning. My name is Chief James Wallace. I'm the Chief of the Baltimore City Fire Department. I'm joined this morning by our Mayor Brandon Scott, Council President Mosby, Councilwoman Porter, County Executive Johnny Oshevsky, and Baltimore County Fire Chief Joanne Rund. Our brief this morning will be an update on the search and rescue operation that's ongoing at this point. So at approximately 0140 hours this morning, our 911 center dispatched a call to the Baltimore City Fire Department for a report of a water rescue in the Patapsco River in the area of the Key Bridge. As units were responding, they began to receive numerous calls indicating multiple people in the water. At some point during that chain of events of calls, we began to receive indications that a ship may have struck the Key Bridge. We got further information through multiple calls that the Key Bridge, portions of the Key Bridge had actually collapsed. At about 0150 hours, our first unit arrived on scene and reported a complete collapse of the Key Bridge. We were also given information at that time that there were likely multiple people on the bridge at the time of the collapse, and that as a result, multiple people were in the water. We were able to remove 2 people from the water. One individual refused service and refused transport. Essentially, that person was not injured. However, there was another individual that's been transported to a local trauma center that is in very serious condition. At this time, we have multiple air assets from the Maryland State Police, as well as the Baltimore Police Department, as well as multiple marine assets from around the region, including Baltimore City, Anne Arundel County, Baltimore County, as well as multiple local and state police agencies, National Resources Police, BPD Special Ops Unit is in here, Maryland State Police is here. We have multiple resources. We are still very much in an active search and rescue posture at this point, and we will continue to be for some time. We have a large area that we have to search. This includes on the surface of the water, subsurface, as well as on the deck of the ship itself. We believe at this point we may be looking for upwards of 7 individuals. That's the latest information we have. However, what I will say is the information that I'm giving you right now is as of right now. That's what we know right now. This is a very large incident. It involves a very large footprint. Multiple agencies are operating. Therefore, information is subject to change as we get more intel and as our crews work through the morning. Over the next 8 to 12 hours, you can expect to continue to see our air and maritime assets functioning out on the water and in the air above. We need to do damage assessment of the ship itself before we can board that ship. And we need to continue our subsurface search, which is including different types of sonar. We have side scan sonar. We have other sonar capabilities here. We have underwater UAVs that we're working with. And throughout the night, we've also been working with infrared technology, both from the air and on the water surface. So I'm going to wrap up here with just saying this continues to be a search and rescue operation. It continues to be a very dynamic operation with multiple local, state, and federal resources involved. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our Mayor, Mayor Brandon Scott.
Thank you, Chief. Everyone, this is a unthinkable tragedy.
Port of Baltimore involving the motor vessel Dolly outbound from Baltimore. I am just beginning to process the information and take a look at it, but I want to clarify something that I've been seeing that needs to be done. This is the video coming from the Port of Baltimore. I'm going to go ahead and live stream it or replay it. This is Dolly coming out. Notice the ship just went dark. I'm going to come back here for a second. Go back here a second. Take you back about 10 seconds here. So she would have came off the berth at Dundalk here, and if you play back this video, you'll see that the ship is outbound, turning around the channel, comes off of Dundalk right here, goes out the channel, spins around, and is coming out. Now let's be clear. This is obviously the exit out. This is where she wants to come out. Go ahead and play it again. Here she is coming out. You'll see lights along her side. You'll see lights right here. That red light in the back is not her, but she goes dark all of a sudden. So now the ship is dark. You are not having any power on this vessel. The ship has basically dropped the plan. So when I initially heard about this happening, there was a lot of questions about, was this mechanical or was this human? This is obviously a mechanical issue in that they lost power. We're not sure why she lost power. So here she is. She is basically coasting at this point without any control. Now, if she had lost power, does that mean she lost her rudder? Did she lose propulsion? And the vessel was in the channel on the outbound leg. She was coming out. And you see her still kind of moving here very slowly down on the channel. Traffic up on the bridge is moving along, and the ship is just progressing slowly down the channel. So ship's still moving at this time, and then we see the power come back on. So you see the lights come back on. So she is able to get power back on at this moment. Sorry, it's buffering here. So you got power now coming back on. She, once again, should have propulsion. She should be making way. Now, when you lose power on a ship, it is the worst feeling in the world. Everything goes quiet, goes dark. Now you start seeing black smoke coming out of the port funnel. So she is belching black smoke at this time. You can see it coming out right here. So this indicates, obviously, an engine problem. Now, what are they doing at this point? They may be backing down at this moment, trying to stop their forward progress. Now, the problem with backing down on a ship is that it is single prop. And what's going to happen is when you try to back down, the ship is going to start careening. It's going to start kind of pitching around. And what happens here, based on the track line that I saw in marine traffic, is the ship starts to go across the channel. She was basically in the middle of the channel, coming out right down in the middle, and now she's careening toward the right side. Notice more black smoke coming out. I saw a helicopter image this morning that showed that the port side anchor had been dropped. So what you would want to do is try to arrest the forward movement of the vessel. The problem with this whole scenario is this. If you start backing down on the ship, it's going to start twisting. If you just kept the ship going, stopped the propeller, and used the rudder, you would have some control. But now the vessel is starting to veer out of the channel. And this is what we see. The ship starts crossing from the north side of the channel to the south side of the channel, and then eventually out of the channel entirely. And at the speed she's going, she is not able to stop her forward progress. So, see the black smoke still coming out of the ship at this time. The ship now is coming out of the channel entirely. She would not have tugs on her. She would have had tugs to take her off the berth at Dundalk, but not once she was underway and had propulsion. This ship, Singapore flag, Singapore registered company. Dolly is one of these ships that basically is leased by the larger operating companies, so we're not exactly sure whose route she was on, what company she was servicing. She was out of Baltimore, heading to Colombo, so she was heading down to the Panama Canal, and she was going to be heading across the Pacific. At this point, she is heading right for the pylons, and understand, once you take out a pylon on a bridge, that's it. These bridges are designed to rest on top of that pylon. She's going to sideswipe it. This is going to be the worst kind of bridge disaster in the United States since Tampa back in the 1980s. And even if you drop the anchors, which we know she drops the port anchor, looking at the image from helicopters, the port anchor was not just dropped, but it was angling aft, meaning that it dragged. But at any sort of speed, it's not going to stop the vessel. She would have dropped, I'm not sure if she dropped the starboard anchor. That's her hitting right there. You can see the big splash as she hits the piling right there. There are barriers around the pilings, but not enough. and that will cause the collapse and just the horror of this event taking place here. And that is the tragedy right there.